I'm going to share a staggering statistic about obesity and menopause. From 45 to 65, ages 45 to 65, the incidence of obesity is about 65%. And then over the age of 65, the incidence of obesity is 74%. This is staggering. And I know so many of my friends and colleagues, as they move through the perimenopause and menopause years, one of their biggest concerns is this accumulation of fat. So what can you do to stay healthy, to minimize this, and to change the way you feel in a positive way? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Dr. Amy Shah, and this is Dr. Confidential. So let's get into it. First of all, what is perimenopause and how is it different than menopause? Perimenopause can be the years prior to menopause that your hormones are fluctuating. Think about it like the last toothpaste in a tube of toothpaste, where there's some months where all the hormones come out very smoothly, and other months where it's a splatter and your hormones are all over the place, or there's not enough hormones, right? In turn, the body will try to ramp up the hormone production itself, and then you will get fat accumulation because you can produce estrogen from fat cells. You will get symptoms like hot flashes. You will feel fatigue some months. There's a range of symptoms that happen during perimenopause. And then when menopause hits, that's when you're no longer making any hormones, meaning if you think about this toothpaste analogy, the toothpaste tube is completely empty and there's nothing coming out month to month. And so what we've seen is that post-meal insulin levels are really high during menopause and perimenopause. We've noticed that stress levels tend to be higher during perimenopause and menopause. What you want to do is mitigate some of this by the way you eat. Some of the things you can do is increase your activity. Increase your low intensity activity, meaning the walking that you do, the time you spend in nature moving. This is a great way to burn some of those calories without actually ramping up the hunger and getting yourself into a situation where your body's feeling a lot of stress from high intensity exercises. So low intensity walking is a great way to counteract some of the health effects of perimenopause and menopause. The other thing I would highly recommend is eating more vegetable fiber. Fiber in general, but especially vegetable fiber, has a great way of rebalancing those hormones. Where basically fiber itself can bind excess hormones. It can help you balance that blood sugar. It can help you feel fuller. There's phytoestrogens and vitamins in those vegetables that will help control the symptoms of weight gain that people often feel during this time. Another tip is taking adequate levels of omega-3 and vitamin D. Vitamin D you can easily get checked from your blood testing. It's a great supplement to take if you are deficient or on the lower end. Omega-3s have been seen to not only help with menopausal symptoms, but also help with the weight gain associated with menopause. These are strategies that you can use. Low intensity exercise, more fiber, especially vegetable fiber, omega-3s, vitamin D. And the last thing is really controlling the sugar and refined carbohydrate intake. I think you can all attest that as we get older, our ability to not only process these sugars becomes less, but our body's reaction to it changes. So as your estrogen is dropping and your androgens are relatively increasing because sex hormone binding globulin is going down, you will often see that you react to foods very differently. And so those same processed sugary foods that you could tolerate before, you may not be able to tolerate anymore. And finally, water. Water is something that you should have more and more of. It's very, very easy to mistake hunger for thirst in our brain. And so you want to be taking adequate water intake. Also dehydration, even up to 2 to 3%, will change your mood, your ability to exercise, and your feeling of energy. So I hope this is helpful. I know that this can be a very stressful time for so many. And, likely all of women, when they're going through this time, they don't have a lot of support about what they should be doing and how they should be eating. That's why I wanted to share some of these strategies with you to make this life change easier. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dr. Amy Shah.